facilities that they serve in. So I don't think it's fair to say that just because Waste Pro's done it here, that Waste Connections isn't going to provide the same service or provide the same level of donation and support within the community. Talking about the facility, you know, that's been a constant theme for those, for some individuals that want to promote that Waste Pro invested in building a facility within the town. Well, if you look at how the history and how that facility has worked in the contract, I haven't received confirmation that the other bidders at the time in 2012 were given that same opportunity as part of the bid contract, that maybe they would have built a facility into the town of Indian Trail. So it's good that they built it. To me, that doesn't stand out as something that I would necessarily go against, again, given sort of the history and the way that facility kind of came about. So I think, looking at taking the pricing aside, looking at the way that the contract was awarded, and as Mr. said, if it smells like a fish, it probably is. It didn't necessarily, pass the smell test from either. And I think for those particular reasons, I think, looking at it in the best interest of the town, the best interest of the residents, and bringing back and reinstilling trust in council and the way that we approach business and work with vendors, I'm going to support Waste Connections.
Okay. Okay. All right. I'm going to wrap that all up. So, Savoie, Mr. Daniels, you're right. I can only, I can only speak of what I know. I'm sure they're both fine companies. And before I go into that, as a business person myself, I'm embarrassed the way this whole situation came about with news coverage. One company, this company, I don't think either company deserved to be dragged onto the news. And at least I like to believe nobody did anything with intent. I don't think any comments here that was said during the council meeting were done with intent, because I know all 5 of you represent this town with a good heart. You go off of information you're given to the best of your ability. And I would be willing to toss that. With the way it was handled, with the news and all that, for my company, I would scrap the RFPs and started from scratch. It was soiled from the beginning. But the town staff picked up the ball and ran with it and got great bids from both companies and worked off, and they need to be applauded because they really put this town's best interest at their heart and do an outstanding job. Thank you for that. Waste Pros always come when we need them. I'm not saying Waste Connection wouldn't. They've never said no. They've been there, whether it be something like code enforcement on the side of a road, everything, they never hesitated. To giving services to civic organizations, they've done a great job. And again, I'm not saying Waste Connections wouldn't. They're a fine company. So I can speak on what I know about that, and I'm not swaying the vote either way. When I thought I might have the tiebreaker vote here, I stopped speaking with Waste Pro, asking for things and doing things. I didn't want any perception, because I know the way things in this town have gone in the past. You say hello to somebody and already you've made a bad deal, and you're all over the news. So we discourage even being friendly. All that being said, and $93,000 is a lot. It's your tax money for an equal service. They have invested in the town. Mr. Cohn's right. Somebody else could have been given the opportunity. Why didn't somebody look into this years before? Well, I've been in contracts all my life. When a contract's signed and you have a staff that presents something to you and that's their job, you take it, you run with it, you go and make the best decision you can. Until that contract comes up for bid again, you may uncover something that was in there, and if that staff member was still there and did it with intent, they'd be out of a job or possibly be brought up on charges. You can't have so much oversight that a staff can't do their job. We have professionals here. I wouldn't have expected Mr. Cohn or someone else to go that deeply into a contract, but once we started the bid again, it was the appropriate time, and all of that was uncovered. So nobody's at fault unless somebody intentionally did something in the original contract, and I can't get into somebody's mind. All of the comments and statements being said here tonight, Council, this is our biggest contract. This is the most important thing next to Captain Coble over there. that we pay for. So at this time, I'm going to ask for a motion for the waste contract. Mr. Cohn.
Make a motion to award the waste contract to Waste Connections.
Mr. Cohn has made the motion to award. To award the contract to Waste Connections. All in favor of his motion, please raise your hand.
Aye.
All opposed? Let the record stand. Mr. Cohn, Ms. Howe, and Mr. Wireman were in favor of Waste Connections, with Mr. Savoie and Mr. Daniels opposing. Therefore, the waste contract is awarded to Waste Connections by a margin of 3-2. The motion carries. Okay, that brings us to item E on the presentations, which was real quick. A few meetings back, I asked the council to entertain at our entranceways to put Purple Heart